Welcome to the Beauties Podcast, where we talk about everything you need to know about women's sports. From the grassroots to the pros, we got it all. Today on the show, we talk about the women's gold medal game, a PHF player milestone, and a lead up to March Madness. Here are your hosts, Addie and Cowie.
Another day at the sports desk. So excited to be here. We've got a lot of things to get into today, but there's a couple things I think we should start off with.
What's that?
Well, vibes are good in the studio today. We got a new sign behind you, a custom-made sign for the beauty studio. That's incredible.
Yes, my lovely wife for Christmas did a lot of hard work on sanding and staining, and it looks awesome. So
it is
nice
so
touch.
nice. It's so nice, so well done. Over our shoulder, we have the PHF.
Yes, outdoor game.
First outdoor game, and they were just going through the logistics. 44 degrees
Fahrenheit, which is shorts weather for us. That's 6 degrees Celsius.
You betcha. We'd be there in flip-flops.
Yeah, because I learned I'm not an Olympian because my arms hurt from shoveling.
Oh my God. Anybody from
boy.
our neck of the woods will sympathize with that for sure. But we've got the first ever PHF All-Star game going on the TV behind us.
Outdoor game, not All-Star game, outdoor game.
Oh, did I say All-Star game?
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Outdoor game.
Outdoor game. Just as cool, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just as cool. And I'll tell you who also showed up. The fans for this game. We just saw some pretty custom-made blankets of some people just having a time.
Yeah, they made almost like a blanket-style poncho. And they had it, instead of putting buttes on their bellies, they had buttes written across their blanket ponchos.
Their blanket ponchos.
Which, well done.
That's
well
a win.
Done. Yep.
So this will be the first for the beauty studio because we will be able to give you live updates as it goes on for the outdoor game. So Toronto 6 and the Buffalo Buttes are playing in the outdoor game, and that's pretty cool. I'm always a huge fan of outdoor games.
Yeah, me too. And I think there's just something that's so nostalgic, right? We all anyone who grew up playing hockey in Canada or the Midwest specifically, you spent a ton of time
ODR,
on
baby.
an ODR. And whether that was a pond or a river or something your mom and dad made in your backyard, it just feels so hockey.
Yeah.
The sound.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing better than the sound of skate blades on outdoor ice.
Yeah. No, it is the best.
And it looks wicked. They've got it's a really cool setup that they have. So
that's like 2-tier seating with, like that's got to be really cool for them.
Absolutely.
Really cool for them. Fans showing up. It's outdoor. It's not too cold. It's all working for them.
Very
and I
cool.
do have one more thing that I didn't tell you.
Okay.
I want your
Secrets.
actual secret. We don't keep secrets here. But I wanted your genuine reaction because I was digging around and, we always say thank you to the Beauties listeners for tuning in and stuff. And I just kind of was looking at some stuff, and we've got some pretty awesome people listening to this show. And in 12 episodes, we have over 2,000 downloads.
I know. That's awesome. That is awesome. And you know what you should do while I ramble for a second here is you should go and find the reviews that people have left on our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one, I'm not going to lie, I don't even know why I ended up, well, I know why. I was on my way to a hockey game. And I was going back to make sure that I had listened to everything. Episode 9, I had cut off somewhere. Obviously, I didn't like my voice that day. But as I scrolled down, there are some wonderful reviews that people have left, which just made my heart smile. So, yeah, that is one of the best ways for those of you who are listening to help Addie and I continue to spread the news of this podcast is, we've said it before, but share it in a room of opportunity. At any time that you can give it a like, a download, if you can rate it, review it, all of those things not only help make our days when we come across them and read them, but help to grow the audience of listeners and the accessibility for people to find us. So,
yeah.
Did you
I
find
did.
those? Isn't it cool?
It's almost going to make me a little emotional. I think. I don't know if I can. But that was just, we do a ton of research this week, every week, and being able to see, first and foremost, for from my perspective, looking back and being like, so that means that that many people have taken the time out of their day to listen to us. Like that's really, I was just very grateful in that
Yeah, it
moment.
is
So
a bit
I,
humbling, isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
so I just wanted to say, first and foremost, thank you to everybody that is listening to us, continuing to listen to us every week, and a very warm welcome to all new listeners because
Yes.
it is growing every single week and
And we're having the best
amazing.
time doing it, which is, I
Yeah.
think, the part that's the hardest to translate to people.
Yeah.
Right? Every time someone asks me, I'm like, it's one of the best parts of my week.
Oh,
Work can
totally.
be hard, life can be hard, but getting 2 hours with one of your best friends sitting in our basement talking about something we both equally love, is amazing. And then to have people love listening to it and finding value in it and connecting with us on it. So I agree. Big thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the fact that we've always known that people are interested in women's sports and now to bring it all together under one roof, like it's so cool because that was definitely proven. Canada US gold medal game is always
Hmm.
a huge thing that people watch like every Olympics, it is the main ticket.
Yep.
It's the it's huge. But in the US alone,
Yeah.
there was 3.5 million viewers for
Yes.
this game.
Yeah. And didn't it say more than any NHL game this season?
More than yeah. Yeah. It was the by far the most watched Olympic event by far.
Yeah.
And so that that just makes me so happy. So happy
Yeah.
because that that's doubled in Canada. Like that
Uh,
there's at
I tried to
least 5
find.
to 6 million people watching in
Yeah, I
Canada.
did try to find. It was harder to find that
Mhm.
in Canada. I did look it up after I saw that NBC stat. I tried to find that here, and you're right. I mean, the amount of people that I talked to, I look like a pile of dog crap the next day because I usually go to bed at 10 and I went to bed at 2 a.m.
Gutted it out.
Yeah,
Had
because you
to.
had to,
Had
right?
to.
And I posted on social media the next day. Like, I'm always proud to be Canadian, don't get me wrong, but you just felt this increased pride
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
waking up the
So
next morning.
Canada takes the gold in the Olympic women's hockey final. And it was, for Canada's journey of the Olympics,
Hmm.
they I don't think there was one slip up. And they talked about their slogan, like this was a lot about what the announcers were talking about throughout the tournament is do it our way was their
Yeah.
slogan, our way.
Yep.
And I felt like they didn't deviate from that one time. They said, it's our way. We're going to do it our way. And they did it. There was a couple of uneasy scores, which we talked about in previous episodes, but they did it with class. They
Yeah.
did it the Canadian way. And they dominated the Olympics, in
It
my
felt
opinion.
very decisive. You're right, because I think they had that goal first. The first goal was came back on a challenge of offside, which it was very offside.
It was very offside. That
And
was really good for US coaching.
yeah, and that can go either way, right? That can be a real momentum killer if you let it be. And it's almost like, okay, let's go get another one. If that one doesn't count, we'll get one more right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And they essentially did that, and it just felt extremely decisive. And I agree. I was talking to someone at Ashley's hockey game last night, and I said the same thing: is that you could feel the ease in which they went about playing hockey.
Mhm.
They were all smiling, and that do it our way. Clearly, from a management perspective in Gina Kingsbury and a coaching staff perspective in Troy Ryan, everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
We will do it the way that fits this team, and a lot of that was very light.
Yeah.
It didn't take anything to heart, and it's almost like they knew they were going to win.
Yeah, it was just and then they even posted that video of them rocking that dancing after, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, like they are in the zone. They're having and that's truly when you're playing the best hockey or sport or whatever you're doing. When you're having fun, it's effortless.
Yep.
You feel relaxed and trustworthy of the people around you.
Hmm.
You are unstoppable at that point.
I did laugh at that warm up thing. I don't know if I couldn't tell who it was if you're watching the video, the top left corner of it. I think it was maybe Mash. and she looked like she had about as stone feet as I do. Because I was like, "You can actually dance. You'd be front row, like, living it up, and I'd be tucked in the back, like, the only thing I know how to do is line dance and two-step, and this is a
Are we
combination of
two-stepping?
all the I don't know what this is." I had a good chuckle at that, but you're right, they just looked like they were yeah, they were as team as I've seen a team in a long time.
I could not agree more. So, like, could you say that though about Team USA? Like when you're
No,
looking across, that was, they are a star-studded cast of individual athletes,
100%.
and as a team, they are incredible. Watching, um, oh my gosh, why is her name? The one Decker.
Ugh,
Decker sitting on the side, like
yeah.
just like nose to the glass, doing like,
When
that's
MPP scored and her back was literally through the
right
glass
up
of Brianna
against.
Decker.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. But you from Team USA to have who they had,
Yeah.
Kendall Coyne, Hillary Knight,
Yeah, the list went
Amanda
on.
Kessel. It
Yeah.
was on and on and
Mhm.
on. And my favorite Barnes, Kayla Barnes,
Yeah.
my favorite. There just didn't seem to be that same cohesiveness from them. There wasn't that same kind of, you know, jam. Like I was waiting for somebody to throw mitts down, to be honest, because I'm like, there's got
Yeah.
to be like that player. Like, well, we were just talking about how Murphy wasn't put on the ice nearly enough. She should have been on the ice way more. But as soon as she did get on the ice, got right underneath the skin of Team Canada in front of the
Mhm.
net, start poking around,
Yeah.
start, because that's how you change the tilt of the ice in a game.
Yeah, and it was we talked about or I just said how it seemed like Canada from management to coaching staff right through to every single player, whether they were, on the ice or in their taxi squad, bought into the same mentality. I I question whether that is the same in that US dressing room. To go through, quarterfinals and semifinals and some girls on your bench not seeing the ice at all and then being entered into the game in the gold medal game. They ran a short bench. They ran 6 forwards. They held back some of their most talented up and coming defense.
Mm.
It just seemed I don't know, it not to take away because I don't think that even, Canada was put together in a way that they would have been hard pressed to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the US, given the talent that they had on that roster, had more to show than what they did.
Yeah. I agree. And when you have like you were saying before, when you have that callback,
Yep.
right? When you have that callback, when it's like, okay, our coach is now stepping up,
Yep.
making that challenge, making sure okay, I'm in this.
Mhm.
And then to go and sit
Mhm.
players. Like there's one thing to sit players in regular season, different situations, whatever the case may be, but it was evident in my opinion. And this is my opinion
Yeah, of
that
course. Yeah.
probably in a month's time something is going to come out about something that happened in that dressing room
Yeah,
that
that
changed
just seemed
that changed the course of their game because in my opinion, if you are dedicating your life for 4 years to be
yeah.
a part of the biggest, Olympic roster,
Mhm.
you're trying to become a defending gold medal champion
Yep.
and you dedicate 4 years of your life and you get to the gold medal game or the Olympics in general and you get sat,
Yeah.
that don't make any sense in my brain.
Well, and you look at the difference between I mean, there's always every year there's a few new faces, right?
Yeah.
As women, let's call it graduate out instead of retire.
Yeah.
They end up kind of aging out of that program and there's new up and coming talent that enters in. But if you look at Team Canada, and I think this is the difference for me in Troy Ryan in Canada versus Joel Johnson in the USA, was you look at someone there was a lot of role players, someone like Sarah Nurse, who in our last experiences watching her in the Olympics was a third liner.
Mhm.
And someone recognized within her that she obviously has more talent. They were also coached very differently. They were far less linear. You and I coach a spring team and we
Yeah.
talk about be creative. Like forget the X's and O's for a while and just feel the game.
Yeah.
Play the game. And I think that's one thing that Troy Ryan allowed this team to do, but it also promoted people like a Sarah Nurse who had an exceptional tournament to end up on a line with Marie-Philippe Plan, who and they were untouchable.
Yeah, agreed.
And
Agreed.
yeah, so I think you're right. We'll probably see some news, but
I would assume and predict that there's going to be some news that comes out. There was a really cool exchange of Mary Philip Poulin and Hillary Knight in the
yeah,
hallway.
I know.
Like I enjoy stuff like that because you see the
Bigger than the game.
respect. You see the respect of the two of them behind being like, "Hey, like
I get it.
I
They were
get
on
it, man."
that's it's
Like,
the inverse of 4 years ago.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
that was cool to see, that was still there, which obviously it would be, but to actually witness it firsthand is
I
really,
agree.
really cool. But yeah, a little bit disappointed in USA's, I don't want to say performance because they're outstanding athletes,
Mhm.
but you could tell their energy, their drive. There was something missing there. And the thing that was crazy is that you saw it in the last 30 seconds of the game.
I know.
You
I
saw it.
know. Yeah.
If they would have had that last 30 seconds throughout the entire game, we're talking a completely different hockey
Yeah,
team. Completely different hockey
as soon
team.
as that, second goal for them went in,
Yeah.
it's almost and it was like, "Sorry, ladies, but you only have 12 seconds left."
Yeah. And then, oh my God, that was the most heartbreaking part. They put the goal in, their hands are in the air, they all look up to the score
And
clock,
then shoulder slumps.
and then they
Yep,
look down at the ice.
yep,
I
I know.
That was insane to me. But you knew that that team was good enough to compete at a higher level. Yeah, it was 3-2. It was a tighter game. Um, than in my opinion than what it showed.
Oh,
Everybody that watched that game knew that Canada dominated that game.
yes, I agree.
Dominated that game. But so I'm sure some things will come out in regards to Hockey USA, and then we'll see if there was anything or if it was just kind of one of those games.
I
Who
know,
knows?
I saw on social media this morning when I got up that the Canadian women are headed the Olympics are now done, the
Yeah, right.
closing ceremonies. Also, I gotta remind me of Lululemon for a sec.
Oh yeah.
Um, and they're on their way home, and I can't wait to see all of them get to come back to their communities with their gold medals and that arrival in the airport when everyone's there. I think you and I have talked about it that we don't believe the USA put up the fight we thought they would. Doesn't take anything away from what the Canadians achieved. So
Oh yeah.
big congratulations to them. This country is very proud of you. I'm proud.
Yeah.
I was proud to watch it, and
Me too.
I just think that the future for us is super bright. So
Oh, could not agree more. Their tournament was flawless.
literally.
Flawless.
Yeah,
And
little hiccup in the first few minutes of that first USA game in the round robin, and that was about it.
and that was about that.
Yep.
So, and then even to just top it off, like and I think that this was like PR brilliance
Mhm.
is that they announced the rescheduling of the Women's World Championship at the end.
Yeah,
And
it
during
was.
that game, I'm like,
And
brilliant.
yeah, exactly.
Because everybody first and foremost was waiting for it.
Yeah,
Everybody was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. June.
time's a ticking.
Yeah,
When are we actually going to reschedule this? And lo and behold,
of
during
course. At the
brilliant.
peak of interest, that I mean, that is so good. I love that COVID has been hard on everybody. It doesn't matter where you are or what you believe. It's been tough, and to allow those young women a chance to compete is the right decision. So I was very happy to see that. And you're right. I think from a marketing perspective, when you have, 3.54 million people watching it on NBC and a bucket load more watching it here, that is the right time to start talking about a reschedule of that. I
Yeah.
do want to, my Lululemon thing.
Oh, yeah.
We
Sorry.
talked about Lulu.
How they crushed the
Crushed it.
Olympics.
Crushed it.
Crushed the
But
Olympics this year.
the closing ceremonies, the fact that there was a secret pocket
Mhm.
that held a flag so that every athlete there or participant who had the swag there could pull this flag from this pocket and hold it and still have their selfie or their video and camera ability. And I was just like, okay, Lulu, you were at 100 for me. Yep, exactly.
You
Knocked it out of the park.
out of the park.
Wild.
Whoever, and obviously it was a team that designed this, but
Yeah.
that team will never have to fight for a job again in their lives. They'll be like, I did this.
Yeah, excuse me, this is my resume.
Yeah, excuse me. I don't know if you saw this. We had made a
it was
secret
brilliant.
It was so
brilliant.
and it was people that sat down and said, "What do people want most out of their experience?"
yeah.
The Lululemon, the thing I'll give them credit for, other than being incredible for our athletes this
Yeah.
year, they made their experience easier. Like you're saying, the flag, give me a
It's
break.
huge.
They had kits that could handle really cold weather. They had everything,
100% they did.
everything for these athletes. They made their experience
And then made parts of it
tenfold.
accessible for the fans, which is also really cool to me.
Absolutely,
So, anyways,
they
that
crushed
was
it.
yeah, I just had to throw that in because I was like, that is whoever thought of that, like, you're a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos to you. Reach out to us, please. I want to know. I need to know the human who came up with that idea
The
because it
secret
is
flag.
the secret flag is huge.
Wild.
But yeah, the Women's World U18 Championship has been rescheduled for June in the US of A.
Yes. Yeah, super exciting.
So that's going to be great and just such a great time to announce it and then to show, okay, we heard you.
Mhm.
We're rescheduling it right away.
Yep.
Because even um well, there's so much hockey going on right now because literally over our shoulder,
Still zeros.
Bagels.
Yeah.
Are Buffalo wearing new jerseys? Are those
Oh, I think isn't that the same?
maybe? For some reason, I feel like their logo's a little bit more white out than normal. Anyway, um, I'll have to look that up. But the WHPA also heading right into a showcase in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be
Yeah, we talked about it last episode
very
where
cool.
it is the right time to add more hockey because hockey, if we look at all of the sports, if we look at not all of them, but the major ones that we talk about on a regular basis, whether that be basketball, soccer, hockey, like hockey is the one right now that is to me the furthest behind in terms of a really solid build. I mean, we still have two leagues essentially.
Yeah.
And so backing onto the Olympics where we had all of these eyes is a great move. More hockey, more hockey, more hockey. I'm into it.
Yeah.
PWHPA, I'm excited to have them back.
Yeah.
It
No.
feels like it's been a long time.
PWHPA
That
because
Toronto showcase was when? A long time
ooh,
ago.
long time ago. Yeah. So now this one essentially falls right over into the Washington
Yeah.
one as well too.
That's
So
awesome.
back to back, which is awesome. So that's going to be great to see when the rosters get announced and the
Mhm.
regions and everything like that. Definitely going to be awesome to see who's going to be showing up there. And the PHF, like huge announcements coming from the PHF this week with
Yeah.
well, the commish and then but also Madison Packer.
I know. Which
What a beauty.
literally what a beauty.
Madison Packer just like franchise player.
And just
Franchise
putting
player.
in the work to build it, which I
Oh,
admire
yeah.
so much.
Agreed.
Yeah, for her, like that, it's unheard of in any league. Never mind this, but to be here from the beginning, to cross the 100-point or 100-game threshold with the same club.
Yeah.
She's one of those building blocks.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
is a beauty.
Yeah.
She's
And
got better hair than both of us.
yeah, damn it.
I mean,
that's very true.
Yeah,
That's
she
very
does.
true. She can rock it. She can rock that. And so starting off in 2015 on Saturday night, that marked her 100th regular season game. So obviously not including playoffs or anything like that. But she comes behind 5 other players
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh,
I-
there has been so much hockey being played that you're the 5th, like Madison Packer, obviously, because she's the only one to do it with the
Same
same
team, yeah.
organization, I think is really,
Unique.
really cool. But Jillian Dempsey, Kaylee Fratkin, Shannon Turner, Alina Orlando.
Shannon Turner is now Shannon something else. She is married.
she?
Shannon.
Well, she played
Either way.
100 games, like, and it's that's cool because I'm always such a huge fan of like the history of it
Mhm.
because that's where people really get connected to the game. Like it's the history of being able to look back and go, okay, now you did it just like so and so. Now
Totally.
you're in this category. Now you're
Totally.
here. And so I think that for them to be able to now say, we've got this many players that have reached this milestone. Madison Packer is the first one to do it, all wearing the same jersey,
Mhm.
captain of the team,
Yep.
and just like you're saying, like an absolute building block of this organization. She's seen it, or this league, she's seen it all.
Literally. Yeah.
She's seen the commissioner changes, the logo change, the name change. Like she's been through
All of
the
it.
whole thing
Yeah,
and
speaking
is
of
still
commissioner changes. You
yeah.
gonna throw your name in the hat?
Pardon me?
You gonna throw your name in the hat?
Oh, baby.
Probably polish up your resume and
I'll
CV and toss
I'll
her in.
toss her in,
Commissioner
see
of the
what's
PHF,
going
and then we'll
on.
have an insider track at least.
Yeah,
You don't
we'll
have
see
to.
what's going on there. And obviously, Kelly's chirping me, but it's
People are used to that
yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. The commissioner, Tyler Tumanina. I can't say it.
That's
I can't say it.
fine.
I practiced. I can't say it. Is going to finish out the rest of the season, but they are actively searching for a new commissioner for next year.
Yeah, so you never know. Just throw
Never
your
know.
name in.
That's right. That's right. Toss it in. PHF Board of Governors. Let's see what's going on.
There you go.
Let's go.
I'd be into it.
And you know what? Let's do it. Because I think there's a lot of cool stuff that could happen with this league. But yeah, she
You
came
wonder
in
why,
as an
or wonder where
intern.
she's going.
That's where she was brought in on an intern basis.
Mm-hmm.
But you think and we've talked about this a ton, with what the PHF has done this year, they've been they've been breaking all boundaries because that was their
That's
motto.
their slogan. Yeah,
That's their
exactly.
slogan. They've been going with really out there jerseys. They've been doing things in unique ways. They've been
Yep.
doing, and you'd think that would all kind of filter down from the commish. Like you think that
Mhm.
Tyler would have been a part of that, but then she's now leaving. So it's going to be interesting to see if somebody's going to come in and hold that same value. Like
Oh,
I.
yeah, exactly. It could look very, very different.
Mhm.
You just don't know.
And so I was a bit surprised to
Yeah, we'll see where she. I'm always curious when I hear people leaving in, major roles like that. It's to me, it's less of why you going and more of where you going.
yeah.
Like, what
Oh,
is more
very
enticing
interesting.
than this?
Yeah, very
Something.
true.
So we'll see where she
So,
ends up, but we'll also see who fills those shoes.
yeah.
Because I, like you say, I think there's an incredible opportunity for them to continue to grow and evolve the PHF.
Yeah.
And so I hope that hope they fill those boots with someone who's going to continue to do that. I'm sure they will.
Yeah. And so interesting fact about her is that she went from serving as the chair of the Toronto Six to the PHF front office and introduced the new governance model to transitioning towards private ownership for all teams.
Okay,
So she was the one
one of
that,
those big pushes of
yeah, that went. So who knows if that's part of it too, right? Like if
Mhm.
maybe they didn't want to go in that direction and she did want to go into the private ownership direction, right?
Yeah,
Like there's so many questions here.
yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
so many, and so we're gonna stay on top of this because it is very interesting to me. You get somebody in such a dominant year.
yep,
PHF did everything that they were supposed to, and they did everything a little bit to their own swag.
yeah. They sure did do that.
And then they go and
Yeah,
now they need a new commissioner. So we're gonna stay on top of that. We'll see what's gonna happen with that moving forward. Super interested to see how that kind of all plays out for sure. Um, but even from thinking about that commissioner to um, and making such huge moves in the PHF, the WNBA commissioner, um, I think is just crushing it with the
yeah,
WNBA. And what makes me think of that is just this the All-Star game for the NBA happened where the commissioner of the WNBA was there to present along with Vanessa Bryant and their daughter the first ever recipient for the Kobe and Gigi WNBA Advocacy Award that was awarded to Chris Paul from the Phoenix Sun. And she was there. There was women from the WNBA there.
yeah.
it felt very connected,
It
very
feels
integrated.
yeah, we've used the words before. It feels brother sister.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
very much feels yeah, and I'm not even talking it feels big brother little sister. Like I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
it just feels straight up mutual respect.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it because we've we've talked about this a lot because when when you're looking at leagues, it can't always just be, oh, well, just copy what the guys do. Because
No.
women have their own identity. They have their own culture. It's
Yeah.
they're the same sport, but they're played very different. There's a lot of difference, but the one big similarity is that it's the same sport.
Yeah.
So I think the WNBA has just done such a phenomenal job of attaching themselves to organizations, but still allowing themselves to be uh,
Individual.
individual, have their own identity, have
Yeah.
their own name. So
Yeah.
there's similarities between the jerseys, but they're different names.
Yep.
There are different ownerships in some cases. In
Mhm.
some cases, it is the same, but they have their own identity. They have their own.
100%.
So there's no question whether or not it's the NBA or the WNBA or whatever. You know who they're associated with,
Yeah.
but it is in no means like one or the other. It's both, it's together.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more in the sense of using your platform too, and that's something we've talked about, right? When you have a stage, use the stage. And that's also one of the things that the WNBA does really, really well. And I shouldn't even just individualize them. The WNBA and the NBA use their stage
Mhm.
when it's presented. We talked earlier about NBA teams and players staying to support WNBA teams in playoffs and vice versa. They understand the stage and they always take the opportunity to use it.
Yeah. So, like with Chris Paul being the first ever recipient for the Kobe and Gigi award, I like you get this sense of the guys now have that they've always known that there needs to be something for the women, but now like it's almost like for Gigi. Like we're
Mhm.
going to get after this
A
for
different level of
a
investment.
different level of investment
Yeah.
because that's what Kobe was doing. He was
Yeah.
this I have my girls. They
Yeah.
deserve a place to play.
Yeah.
So now you just see that connection piece. And I was telling you, even before with watching Chris Paul, like I just admire him so much because when the Phoenix Mercury were in the finals against Chicago Sky,
Yeah.
they would change their flights to be there
Yeah.
courtside.
Yeah.
And then you got Tarasi, Griner,
Yeah.
Diggett Smith, you got all them over there like thanking them,
Yeah.
saying good luck. Like, it's a real sense of community and camaraderie that they've created there. And I think it's so special. Chance the Rapper was like, did
Yeah.
not miss a Sky
Yeah.
game. And, when you feel that, there's you're all in, like, cause it's such a cool feeling, but the fact that now the guys in the NBA are like, "No, we can wait 2 hours, we gotta watch, we gotta see how the women are doing and be there to support and show our
Yeah.
faces," and, they would do interviews, they would do everything,
Yeah.
and then, you know, to think of that being spread out among all sports is a pretty
S-
cool thought.
We said it was it last episode or two? It's like that's what it takes when the Boston Bruins put on the Boston Pride jerseys and wear them into the rink. It is the simple things. It's not we're not asking for you to invest the millions of dollars that you make from being a professional athlete in your sport. What we're asking you to do is we say it in ours. Talk about it in a room of opportunity.
Yeah.
When there's an opportunity to buy the merch or show up to the game or like it's those little things
Yeah.
that are the most impactful. When you are at a game and you have a platform, share it on social media because that next little boy or a girl who's following you who wants to become the next LeBron James sees that he's supporting the women.
Yeah. Exactly.
We say it, you can't be what you can't see. But again, on an equal term of that is like everything is a learned behavior.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
An asshole doesn't become an asshole just out of choice. It's because they watch someone else be an asshole.
Yeah,
Honest
no.
to God,
No, I
right?
know, I
That sounds
know.
bad to say, but
No,
it's
I
true.
know. It's the perfect example of that because you're right. It is learned behavior and like we always talk about per episode, I could go down a rabbit hole. We could
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is this is bringing on
yeah.
the right people and having a
Right,
beers with beauties
right.
episode. Get some good neighbor beer up in here. Let's
Mhm.
have some beers and let's chat about it because I agree with you. At the end of the day, this is that's the core of the change in sports. But the I was so jacked when I was watching the All-Star game and I saw Vanessa Bryant come out and give this award that single-handedly connected the NBA and the WNBA like no other. It was unreal. It
Exactly.
was unreal. But here's another way that even just a small little simplistic thing when like we're heading into March Madness,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Everybody and their cousin makes a bracket.
Yeah.
Make one for men, make one for women.
I know. I know.
Make 2 brackets.
Yes.
Make 2 brackets, that's it. Because I'm telling you, it is going to be nuts. March Madness is going to be nuts this year.
Should we post our brackets somehow? Or
I
how do we track
Let's do an Insta live of us creating our brackets.
we could.
That's where I think we go and we get people and then we fire it up because 99% of people are going to pick South Carolina to win.
Yeah.
Like 25-1 overall record, like pretty damn good. You've got some incredible athletes on your roster, like, but you can't leave out Stanford and Louisville,
The-
that have records of 23-3. It's not like they're
yeah, sleeping on it. But
yeah.
it's the same though. Like every year when you fill out your bracket, because there is always upsets. That is just
Mhm.
the nature of March Madness.
Yep.
It's also the reason when we look at men's professional sports that like the Montreal Canadiens made it to the Stanley Cup final last year. Like
Right.
playoffs is an entirely new world. There is always upsets.
Right.
I will tell you this: the odds of me picking the right upset is almost zero.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I should take my mom's strategy. I remember going in a hockey pool one time with my mom, and she won, and I was like, "Wow, how?" And she's like, "I picked the names I liked."
Oh yeah, of course. That's
I was
how they
like,
always
"Freaking
win.
cool!" I had logic and
yeah.
like, well, so and so's hurt, and
yeah,
the
like,
last time they met each other, it was a barn burner. So this one, and then I'm completely wrong. So
Yeah.
I might take Sandy's strategy of just picking the logo I like.
yeah. You look sick. Let's go with that
Yeah.
one because like number 10th on the list is Connecticut.
Yep.
And how do you ever write off Connecticut?
I know, right?
How can you
That's a
ever
very
write
good
them
point.
off? So if there's going to be that has an upset, it's going to be Connecticut. They're on a 4-game win streak right now, but even North Carolina is on a
Mhm.
6-game win streak. It's like nobody is out in my opinion. Like obviously everyone's going to be like South Carolina's a shoe in this
Mhm.
year, all this kind of stuff. They haven't lost a game in like 13 games and that's pretty good. But
Yeah, that is pretty good.
you're right. It's like the bracket is almost like are you like who's your upset? Who's your upset game?
Yeah, you
And
have
if
to
you
find them.
if you pick the right upset game,
Oh, yeah.
you'll get far. So that's like I think if you're gonna make brackets, make it for both. Make a
Yeah.
women's bracket and make a men's bracket.
Yeah.
And like cause it is I cannot wait because there was a huge upset between Tennessee and who's ranked 12th. Like for me, seeing Connecticut at 10
Mhm.
shows not only how competitive this
Oh, yeah.
is,
Yep.
like this is all out. This
Yeah.
is insane. But how things can flip on a dime. Like if you're not going into March Madness with all guns blazing,
Yeah, yes, you're right.
you know,
Yeah, and it's almost like there's like fear in being on those win streaks too as you go in because you feel like history would say that you got to drop one sometime. It's almost like you're better to be on that skid and then have the short win streak into
yeah.
it than you are to be on that like 13 gamer or 10 gamer or 7 gamer and then it's like,
Right.
oh man, everyone, because that's the other part too, right? Is when you're on top, whoever you play has nothing to lose. So they come in with an absolute, like, let's go. Like, we're the underdog.
Yep.
We know we're the underdog.
Yep.
So we
Full
might as
tilt.
well go ham.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's going to be one of the most, well, first, it's going to be one of the most, like, I think so many eyes are going to be on March Madness this year, specifically because of what happened last year.
For sure.
So
Yes.
everybody's going to have eyes focused on
Yep.
that gymnasium.
Yeah, and
Everybody
every
is,
little bit of it,
every
right?
little
From swag
detail.
to food to weight room stuff, all
Oh,
of it.
yeah. People are going to be all
Right.
over that, as they should.
Agreed.
As they should. So
Yes.
I'm all into that too. I will be one of them.
Yeah.
I'll be like, post the weight room, let's go,
I
right?
know.
And so I think that that's going to be a huge focus this year, as well as just the level of competition that these women have been putting out this year. And I think it's going to be equal to the men more than ever before for March Madness.
Yep, I would agree with you there too. It's one thing. So NCAA Women's Hoops has an Instagram account, and it's been really fun to follow this year because they post the upsets, right? They
Oh yeah, I
post,
love it. And
yeah,
then
they post upset alert, upset. Like if you see here on their Instagram, upset,
boom.
right? And every upset,
I love that. You're right.
So I've been loving watching that too.
Yeah.
Shout out to March Madness and this. So anyone who wants to follow on Instagram, it's March Madness WBB women's basketball. They do a great job of covering it, but it is that list could shift before we get to March.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah, and you think of like Sedona Prince being such a vocal piece of the change. I don't think Oregon's in the list right
I don't
now.
think Oregon's in the list.
They were
Let's
for a
find
bit.
out.
They were for a bit. They got into the list for a bit, but I don't think they're in the list now.
No.
So, FYI to all the rest of you women's basketball players, make sure you cover it for us, because if she's not there,
Yeah. Sedona.
we need someone else to step up on the TikTok and
Absolutely.
Instagram and whatever else.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, let's do a live.
Of
Let's
our
have
bracket?
a couple. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
let's do it.
I'm into it.
all into that. AU hoops ending up draft coming up here.
Yeah, I am digging AU hoops. We've briefly talked about AU Athletes Unlimited, and they're doing a really interesting thing there where there are no coaches. It is about the athletes. So the way that it works, just in brief, is it's on an individual point system. So there are points available for your team wins. So every quarter that you win there's 50 points. Every game that you win is 100 points. But then it's really on your individual performance, in that if you miss a shot, it's a negative points. And if you make it, it's very much like fantasy. Anyone who plays fantasy sports. And so it's a really shortened season. There's 4 teams, yellow, or they call it gold, orange, blue, and purple. And every week, whoever the individuals are who are ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4 then go into a draft where they draft their teams. And then they have these, they're always doubleheader games, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, where they play each other. And that's how it gives them. So just FYI for anyone, if you haven't tuned into Athletes Unlimited, you should do that, really, because their AU Hoops season is ending next weekend.
Yeah. You're right. Very cool in the sense of it's like fantasy, and it's constantly shaking up, which I thought might be fun as an athlete, because the athletes draft their teams,
100%.
which I think is super cool.
Mhm.
But then you get that kind of, like, you see where your chemistry lies with different players.
Well, and
I
it's
think
been
it's
super fun
super
to
great.
watch because there's a lot of strategy, right? So there's a lot of strategy that goes into when do you draft your centers or when do you draft your guards. It feels very fantasy related when you watch it, because when one center goes, then it's like
Right.
of centers that go. But I agree with you in that you find there are players who click. But then when you're drafting, if I'm drafting against you,
Yeah.
and I know that Buddy A is who you want,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm ahead of you in the draft, I take Buddy A.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. I
It's
love it.
so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch. If you can, anyone who loves basketball, you can tune into a lot of their stuff. So either you can find it on YouTube or they do lots of Facebook stuff too. Um, and you can actually watch on their website. They do a really good job of making it accessible, showing you how to watch it if you're in Canada, the US, or internationally. And it is, I think there's so much merit. We've talked about it. I'm so looking forward to the fastball side of it or softball side of it starting up here shortly. They do have volleyball and lacrosse as well.
Yeah.
And I
And
think that
softball.
I think this is going to take off.
I agree.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked that if we see more than the 4 teams or however many girls that is, 40 some odd girls or women, that are drafted every week in hoops
Yeah.
because, oh man, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see, and the amount of WNBA players that have just dove right into it and said, like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
fun. Like Natasha Cloud is right in there, like a
Yeah,
dirty shirt, man.
she's
She
ranked number 2.
loves it.
She jumped a spot this week, so she was drafting the blue team last week, which means she was 3rd ranked overall in individual points, and then this week she jumped into the 2 spots, so she's gonna be drafting the orange team,
Yeah.
today, or I guess it would've been yesterday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a look and make
Anyways, it
sure. Yeah,
is
one more week.
yeah.
One more week, and then we move on. So that's yeah, I love it. I agree with you. I'm anybody that likes that fantasy betting, that kind of thing would love
Yeah,
it.
it's awesome. It is awesome, and I really like even too there's a lot of merit put in, so they have an MVP 1, 2, and 3 each week that are voted by your peers.
Hmm.
So that's also a good chunk of points that you can win if
Yeah.
everyone thinks you had a standout week.
Or like,
Yeah, it's wild. It's
you
so
crushed
fun.
it this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you know, I love that. So
Exactly.
very, very cool. And then also, what's going on is the She Believes Cup and
Yeah.
the Arnold Clark Cup.
Right.
So She Believe Cup is happening right now, and it's USA, New Zealand, Iceland, and Czech. And for me, this was one of the USA beats New Zealand 5-0. USA, Czech, bagel.
Yeah, I saw that.
Whoa.
I didn't watch the game, I'll be honest, but I did see the result.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So New Zealand and Czech play next on February 23rd, but that was a shocker to me. I was expecting a blowout.
Yeah.
And we talked about last time about some pretty high level athletes
Mhm.
being left off the roster, and then you get into a competition against Czech and you go 0-0. Like that to me was crazy. Iceland beats New Zealand 1-0. But and then Iceland beats Czech 2-1. Like it doesn't.
Oh, so it's all there's no
my,
logic from
there's
your
no logic.
Yeah.
I'm all over the map with it.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to me. But then when I was thinking about the rosters, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is maybe making them think about, different players or different things like that. So it's been no consistency in my opinion. Like normally it's like
Yeah,
Canada,
I agree.
USA, whatever.
Yeah.
But then USA goes out and rocks 5-0. But then they tie Czech 0-0. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a
I
weird
also
one
sometimes
for
feel
me.
like that's soccer. Like,
That's true.
because, well, I mean, they're professionals. So, because there's been some of the best soccer games I've ever watched that end in 0-0 scores, right? Or 1-0 scores.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, so who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, that Arnold Clark Cup. Well, we talked about it last episode, how you really wanted the She Believes Cup to get bigger.
Yeah.
Then why didn't we have Canada and Brazil and, these other teams? And then all of a sudden we have this Arnold Clark Cup, which is being held in England with, England, Germany, Canada, and Brazil.
Mhm.
And it kind of filled that gap, which just felt like someone was listening. Obviously, those plans were in advance way before we recorded a podcast. But,
Right. Spain.
oh, shoot, Spain, not
Spain.
Brazil.
I thought the same thing, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, Spain. But yeah, like here's the thing. So they have it like world, the Arnold Cup world.
Yeah.
So where I don't understand why they have to have that category, because obviously, like it's national teams.
Yeah.
right? So it's obviously from around the world. So I found that kind of interesting. They're like Arnold Cup World category.
Yeah.
But why? I don't know. I guess I just need to learn more about like the why they need to be split up in two. Why they need to be split up into two different
Well, and I don't think they
things.
have any association to one another, right?
No.
Like it does say right on the Arnold Clark Cup, we'll see you're right. 4 of the world's top 10 teams clash this February. Like then invite all 10.
Then let's go. Let's have 10.
But I
You
guess
know?
that is the World Cup. I don't know. Maybe
I
we gotta
know.
think about that a
That's
little
what
bit
I
more.
mean. That's what I mean. I'm like, are they cuz and my favorite part is that they call these friendlies. Like obviously it's
That's
war. It's
yeah.
competition. It's
That's
super
a soccer
intense. They're
term,
trying
eh?
to
Soccer term.
just we're going to go
Friendlies.
play a couple friendlies. Could you imagine if it's like Canada USA, it's like rivalry. We're going to go play a couple friendlies.
But that is a really interesting thing because you're right. All of those lead ups, the friendlies, the exhibition games in hockey were called the rivalry series.
Yeah.
Like when our equipment's on and that puck drops, we want to just absolutely slaughter you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And soccer, it's such a
Uh,
the verbiage is so much
it's
kinder.
yeah, it
It's a
is.
friendly
Couple
match.
friendlies.
It's not there's no necessarily weight to it, right?
Yeah, and I wonder if they do that because they're trying to hold off on the build up to the World Cup. I don't know. But I was I just thought it was interesting. And Arnold Clark, so obviously I looked up who this guy is. And he's the Scottish billionaire businessman who became incredibly successful selling cars. So he must just have at some point in his life donated a ton of money to supporting women's sports because they
Yeah,
named the whole tournament after the guy. So, um,
could be.
yeah, so that was first year during the She Believes Cup, um, along with the Arnold Clark Cup. Um, I think it's cool. I like it. More soccer, the better, honestly. Seeing all these different countries playing
It
against
was
one another.
it was
Like,
nice too that it was on TV. The Arnold
mhm,
Clark Cup.
yeah,
We went to the Jets game. We went to tavern before and had a bite to eat and watched that.
I love it.
Yeah, which me too.
I love that.
It was super good that it was, and I loved that they had it on the TV because there was a lot of other choices they could have made, knowing that it was an NHL game
Yep.
that everyone in there was going to, and they chose women's soccer, which was awesome.
Yeah, very cool. But here's kind of the thing that we can chat about because I think this is very interesting. So the She Believes Cup,
Mm-hmm.
um, Haley Rosens, that is the CEO and founder of Just Women's Sports,
Yeah.
tweeted, "We need to find a different name."
Yes.
So I found that super interesting because I totally see what she's saying.
Well, it's not inclusive. It's not inclusive
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Um, I agree, and I think I appreciate when people again with a stage like she has stand up and say something, and I'm sure people have before. But if you and I tweet about it, it means a lot less than if someone of her stature does.
well, when she tweeted, I was like, I'm putting a lot of thought into this
Yeah,
because I think I agree with you.
especially in a world of where we've got Quinn on
Yeah.
our national team, and we're in a culture of women's sports that is inherently, for the most part, in any of my experiences, extremely inclusive. Doesn't matter how you identify, who you love. No one cares.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's time maybe. And maybe it's not even just the change from she to they. It's something entirely different.
Well, and that's where I kind of because I totally understand your perspective and I get that piece. But I almost took it as in like she doesn't need to believe anymore. Like we've got it.
Oh, interesting. So we had completely different visions of
Right?
that.
But like it's like almost making it something like
She can be,
yeah.
but not
She
she.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
like something that like I don't know, just like the Championships Cup or
Yeah.
something more along the lines of a traditional like Champions League soccer
Yeah.
tournament name,
Yeah.
not She Believes Cup, but because I do like the premise of it. I do
I
like the
agree.
premise of
Yeah.
She Believes Cup is all about the mentorship and understanding of girls that
Yes.
are younger, educating parents so that they
Yeah.
know what is actually available for their kids. I love that part.
Yeah.
I
Couldn't
think
agree
that
more.
that needs to be everywhere. But
Yes.
it was very interesting to me, and it's something that I never thought of, and she made me think of it when she tweeted that out because I'm like, right. Stop telling the girls that they can believe it. They
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Let's start talking to them as if they're there. Change your terminology. Change the way that you're speaking to
Okay.
these young girls.
Yep.
She believes, yeah, of course. We've got Premier League, we've got
Mhm.
NWSL, we've got all this stuff in place already. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Okay.
very
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, everyone, the Buffalo Buttes are leading 1-0.
The Buttes are on the board, baby.
Cool.
I love that. That's awesome. So yeah, no, cool way to kind of end the show because I thought that was very interesting. A
Yeah.
huge name in women's sports.
Yeah.
Um,
Very much so.
somebody that I look up to tremendously
Mhm.
because of what she's done there. And I thought, like, wow, what a tweet. What a tweet.
And I loved making people think. And I also love that you and I had completely different interpretations of that. Probably neither of which have any less or more merit, but
Yeah.
probably all needs to be taken into account when they
Ag-
start thinking about it.
Agreed.
Cool.
So I think we're gonna rally up maybe and watch a little bit of
exactly.
PHF. But
We're gonna leave everyone listening here and watch some hockey.
yeah, so Cowie, final words.
Same as always, buddy. Thanks for being here. Thank you for everyone. We said it off the top. Thanks for everyone who's returned back. If this is your first episode, again, welcome to Beauty Sports. You can find us on social media on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Beauty Sports Talk, on Twitter at _Beauty Sports, and we have a voicemail, speakpipe.com/Beauty Sports. Again, all of the love we appreciate so much, and I appreciate you, bud.
Thank you so much, Betty, and we will see you all next week.